When this little man was born, he had a timer on his head. Every time he took a step, the energy point on his head lost a grid. At first, the little man didn't understand what it meant. Then he saw another little man walking beside him. The energy grid on his head slowly dwindled until it was completely depleted. Then he collapsed and turned into a flower. The little man realized that he only had 10 steps left in his entire life. He looked at the flowers around him and felt afraid. At that moment, he had only the last 8 steps of his life left, so he did his best to take as many steps as he could. But no matter how careful he was as he walked, the energy grid on his head kept running out. This time he was completely terrified. He immediately sat down on the ground and didn't dare to move. The sunlight he had always longed for was right in front of him, but it seemed that he could never reach it. So the little man lay down on the ground. He thought that if he stayed like this, perhaps he could live forever in this world. But when he opened his eyes, he discovered that the space around him was already filled with flowers. The little man gathered his courage. He stood up and tried to reach the sunlight by positioning himself above the flowers, but he failed. He looked ahead with determination and decided to walk toward the sunlight and get out. When he finally crossed the flowers, his energy grid had only 3 cells remaining, and his sun was about to set. He lifted his foot and looked at the last 3 energy grids above his head. He didn't want to miss the last ray of sunlight again because of his hesitation. So he took a step and moved forward with all his might. But the sun he was chasing disappeared. Now there was only 1 step left in his life. Then suddenly he sat down. Then, with all his might, he leaped as far as he could, toward the nearest sunlight. But as soon as he touched the ground, his life ended. His life force transformed into a drop of water and blossomed into a tiny flower. As its roots grew downward, a miracle occurred. It fell from the cliff and landed in the water. Carried by the current, it began to flow once more toward the light. Thus, the little man was able to embrace the sunlight and miraculously began a new story of his rebirth.